Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. I'm your man, Captain Will. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will so I can continue to bring you that gospel of Gamecocks every single day. Every single day. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I appreciate all the love as we go into the real season. The real season, college basketball, specifically women's college basketball, even more specifically, South Carolina women's basketball. It is about here. October 15th is in 3 days. And we actually have real basketball. Follow me on Twitter at Gamecocks Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. And wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you find your man, Captain Will. We got a good one today, y'all. I said we got a good one today, y'all. We talking about defense, something that's very true and dear to my heart. If you have been watching, if you have been listening for the past, I would say a year and a half, you've heard me talk about defense wins games, all those cliches. I talk about defense more than anybody in college basketball for sure. I do. Most folks are enamored with 3-pointers. Most folks are enamored with fast pace and outscoring their opponent by any means necessary. What gets Captain Will going is defense. It separates the great teams from the greatest teams. It separates a good team from a really good team. It really separates everyone. If your team actually plays defense and puts that extra effort into defense, I believe you will win more games. I believe you will achieve things that you haven't achieved before. It's a reason why certain teams will never win a championship because they don't play a lick of defense. Those are the facts. It's the reason why South Carolina's three-time champion and could have been easily five-time champion. Because every time Carolina goes out on the court, you can rely on their defense. Now, the defense this season will look differently for a number of reasons. First off, the main reason is Kamilla Cardoso. Kamilla Cardoso is gone. She's gone to the W, and she was drafted high by the Chicago Sky, made all-rookie team. Now she's playing in China. And what she did at the University of South Carolina was a legacy. She left a legacy. She did, but it didn't start out that way. She wasn't recruited by South Carolina. She didn't show up in South Carolina. She went to an ACC school, Syracuse, her freshman year, and then transferred over to the University of South Carolina. And she wasn't a superstar at the beginning. She wasn't a superstar her sophomore year or her junior year. She became a superstar her senior year. That is things to watch as players in this NIL space who are jumping from this team, jumping to that team, jumping. Everybody's jumping, trying to find the right pot of money. We just had a kid on the football team just say, hey, I'm going to redshirt myself and transfer. Because I'm going to I have my senior year. If I redshirt, I can go to another squad, probably get another NIL deal, and continue to play football. Okay. Just transferred into Carolina this past offseason. You got Juju Watkins just signed another wonderful NIL deal. At Carolina, you will get your money. You will get the deals. You will get your brand. You will get all those great things that you want to get as an individual player. What you may not get is a championship. It is guaranteed, damn near guaranteed, if you commit to the South Carolina women's basketball program. You are going to get multiple SEC championships and have the opportunity to compete for a national championship every single year. Carolina has won multiple championships and on a roll and probably will win back-to-back championships this year. How many programs can say that? How many programs can say that? Kamilla Cardoso trusts the process. She overcame adversity, and now she is a baller in the WNBA. She won the NCAA tournament most outstanding player this past season. She was an All-American, first team. Okay. She was two-time All-SEC. She made All-SEC while coming off the bench the previous year after averaging 9 points, 8 rebounds, almost 2 blocks a game. Kamilla Cardoso was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. This past season, she averaged 25 minutes. She didn't average 35 minutes. She didn't average 37 minutes. She didn't average none of those things because this is Carolina. You get in where you fit in. But Kamilla Cardoso did in those 25.3 minutes she averaged. She got 14 points. She got 10 rebounds. She got 2 assists. She got 2.5 blocks a game. She shot 59% from the field. She shot 66% from the free throw line. Her offensive rating was 128.6. But what got me going with Kamilla Cardoso was her defense. Kamilla Cardoso's defense, to me, made her who she is. Yes, she's 6'7". Yes, she is a baller, but she had a defensive rating last season of 73.0. Okay, we'll talk more about defensive rating in a little bit. She was second in the SEC in block shots. Second. She was first in the SEC in blocked shots per game. Kamilla Cardoso was a huge defensive presence for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Huge. She was a special player. Fifth in the SEC in defensive win shares. Fifth. In defensive win shares is a stat I love. I love to talk about defensive win shares because your defensive ability is actually helping your team win basketball games. And she was fifth in the country. Fifth in the country. She was third in the country in defensive box plus or minus. Third in the country. We tend to look at the regular box score. We look at the points. We look at the rebounds. We look at the assists. We look at how many threes a person hit. Not necessarily how many threes a person took, but we look at how many threes a person hit. We don't look at turnovers because turnovers don't matter in basketball, apparently. You can have 8 assists and have 7 turnovers, and they think you did a really good job. You did not. You did not. Don't let it fool you. But what the box score doesn't show is what you did in defense. That's why Captain Will, if you listen to Captain Will, if you're new to Captain Will, if you're new to Captain Will, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to say that you are now rocking with the best. And since you're rocking with the best, come rock with your man, Captain Will, because when you hear Captain Will, we're going to break this thing down analytically. We're going to break this thing down, with your eyes, with the eyes test, all those things. But the eyes are tricky sometimes because sometimes we just focus on the ball. We're not watching, if Chloe's getting beat down low. We're not watching if Full Wiley got beat down, up on the top. We ain't watching those things. The only thing we watch is I see it's kind of similar to football when you just follow the ball. That's all you're doing. You just follow the ball a lot of times when you watch the game. I told when me and my wife got together, and she didn't know anything about football. She knew about, basketball because she could ball. She could ball. She could play basketball. She ran track, all those cool things, all those things. But she did not know was about football. So I said, babe, one of the lessons that you're going to learn about football is with me, I don't watch the ball. I don't watch the ball. If you want to see how a game is going to be won or lost, You just watch the offense and defensive line. If we got the ball and the offensive line is getting pushed in the backfield, we ain't going to do nothing. And the same thing with the defense. If you're controlling the line of scrimmage, you're going to play pretty well. Same thing in defense. Same thing in basketball. If you are guarding your person, if you're not doing the blow-bys, you're going to have a chance to win. And Kamilla Cardoso was the ultimate enforcer in the SEC this past season. Really, the last 2 seasons. And with her defensive knowledge, with her defensive rating, and the cool thing about her defensive rating, this is the thing with defensive rating for Kamilla Cardoso. She was second in the SEC in terms of defensive rating. Remember that number. She was second in the SEC in defensive rating. She was 4th in the country in defensive rating. This is why she was on all defensive teams. This is why. You know that South Carolina leads the league in blocks every year. And Carolina itself normally has, with us leading the league in blocks every year, Carolina itself also have multiple players who get block shots per game. And in the totality at the end of the season, you look and say, oh, we got several players who, has some solid defensive stats. What you may not look at is block percentage. Basically, that's when a player is trying to score a basketball and the defensive player, what's the percentage of that player blocking that shot? Well, Kamilla Cardoso was second in the SEC in terms of block percentage. She was an eraser for the South Carolina Gamecocks. So replacing all those things is difficult. It's very difficult. And the only way that you can replace a player defensively as good as Kamilla Cardoso was is if you replace a player that was actually better on defense than Kamilla Cardoso. That player, and I'm folks are saying, like, what the hell, Cat? What you talking about? What you talking about? Ashlyn Watkins on defense was better than Kamilla Cardoso. By every metric you want to talk about. The easy answer of the equation is you replace Kamilla Cardoso with Ashlyn Watkins. The problem with that X of the equation is we don't know when Ashlyn Watkins is going to play again. We don't know. It's up in the air. She has a court case on October 25th. We don't know when she's going to actually play basketball. Could be this season. Could be not. Could be in a month. Could be not. A lot of questions will be answered in a couple of weeks in that regard. But Ashlyn Watkins, and for this purpose of the lesson today, whenever you might be watching your man Captain Will, is Ashlyn Watkins led the SEC in total blocks. That's what Ashlyn Watkins did. She led the SEC in total blocks. And Ashlyn Watkins did not play 25.3 minutes per basketball game. Ashlyn Watkins played almost 21 minutes a game. Almost 21 minutes a game. Ashlyn Watkins not only led the SEC in block shots, she was second in the SEC in blocks per game. She was 4th in the SEC in defensive win shares. And it boggles my mind. This is what boggles my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what boggles my mind so much when I talk about Ashlyn Watkins and how she was not on any defensive teams. None. You Google it. Ashlyn Watkins was not on defensive teams because they said she didn't play enough minutes. She played 5 minutes less than Kamilla Cardoso. Okay. She was first, in my opinion, the stats, I don't care if you play 4 minutes a game. If you lead the SEC in block shots, if you are second in the SEC in terms of blocks per game, if you are fourth in the SEC in defensive win shares, if you are first in the SEC and third in the whole country in defensive plus minus, if you are first in the SEC, and if you are first in the country in defensive rating, first in the SEC in block percentage, fifth in the whole country in block percentage, and you don't make any defensive teams, no defensive awards, the system is broke. It is broke. It made no sense. You literally had the best defensive player playing next to the second best defensive player in the country, and one of those players did not get recognized because that player played 4 minutes less than the other player. Makes no sense whatsoever. But with her status being questionable, we have to say, we have to think, we have to talk, we have to actually, work it out in our brain. Like, hey, Watkins ain't gonna be there. When we play on Tuesday, Ashlyn's not gonna be there in Memphis. And when we come back home to Colonial Life Arena to play this Division II team, Watkins ain't gonna be with us. So who's gonna step up with the uncertainty of Ashlyn Watkins? Who's gonna step up with Kamilla Cardoso going to the W? The first person that I have to mention, that I have to talk about, is Chloe Kitts. You're like, Cap, what are you talking about? Chloe Kitts. Chloe can't play no defense. Well, I don't know what game you're watching, but Chloe can play defense. And she plays defense so well. Chloe Kitts was 14th in the country in defensive win shares. Chloe Kitts was 22nd in, let me say that one more again. She was 14th in the SEC in defensive win shares. She was 22nd in the SEC in terms of defensive rating. Chloe Kitts can ball. She can play defense. And ladies and gentlemen, Chloe Kitts, with Ashlyn Watkins in status in limbo, Chloe Kitts is our best post defender. She's gained some weight. She's gotten stronger. So she's going to be back and better than ever. Another person who's going to have to step up on the defensive end, if we want to return back to the glory of defensive greatness, is Miriam Dada. Now, Miriam Dada is a player, 6'4", transferred from Arkansas, was 13th, ranked in a 2021 recruiting class, 5-star recruit. Now it was South Carolina. We know she can shoot the three, but if you look at the first player in block shots, in terms of block shots per game, you're talking about Kamilla Cardoso, you're talking about Ashlyn Watkins, and the third one was Miriam Dada. She was the third one, and she is on this basketball team. She was third in SEC in blocks. Third in SEC in blocks. She was fifth in SEC in block percentage. Now, her defensive rating ain't what Carolina fans are used to because Arkansas didn't play no defense. Y'all saw it. They didn't play no defense. Her individual defense is good. Her team defense needs work. But this is Carolina. Everything is attention to detail. Everything is defensive oriented. She is a special talent at 6'4". She was already third in the conference in block shots behind two of our own. With the uncertainty of Ashlyn Watkins, you can go ahead and book it right now that Miriam Dada is going to lead the conference in block shots just from what she did at Arkansas. Defensively, she's going to get better and better. She won't be a finished product at the beginning of the season. She ain't gonna be the finished product, but you will see the growth defensively over the course of this year. She has that athletic ability to do that. And then a couple of X factors, some unknowns who, if Watkins ain't there and with Kamilla Cardoso gone, you're going to have Sania Feagin, who played much better defense over the course of the second half of the season. We're going to have that because she's going to be our starting center. We're going to have some serious defense for a good 20 to 25 minutes for Sania Feagin. She's going to be getting the most minutes she's ever had at the University of South Carolina. She got to continue to play defense, and I believe she will. And the other one I want to talk about is Joyce Edwards. Joyce Edwards is 6'3", ultra athletic, all state in multiple sports in high school, all universe in basketball, a genius in academically. I think her size, her ability to guard multiple positions is going to be amazing on the defensive end. Because unlike in high school, she ain't had to play a lot of defense because they were beating everybody by 50 points. And Joyce was doing everything offensively. But coming to South Carolina, where she ain't got to score a bunch of points. She come in and get her time. She guard, do what she do. I think she's going to play exceptional defense this season. I believe that. I believe you see the growth of Joyce throughout the season defensively. Offense will be all good. I'm not worried about her offensively at all. But I think Joyce, much like Malaysia Fulwiley, is going to be something else on the defensive end this season. Once that harness is, the energy harness is all got together, she's going to be special. She's going to be really special. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see a player like Joyce who's, some say she's number 3, some say she's number 2. I say she's number 1 in this recruiting cycle doing work. I just can't wait to see it. If Watkins come back, I mean, all bets are off. All bets are off. If she doesn't miss substantial time, all bets are off. This defense is going to be sensational once again. She will lead the defensive stronghold of the SEC in the country and all those different things. And I'm talking to SEC voters and whoever voting all this stuff right there. Because we're gonna start seeing these preseason awards and wanting these preseason All-American things. And I know the caveat now, they don't know what Ashlyn Watkins is going to do. So they're going to keep her off certain ballots. She could be suspended for the year. And I get it. I understand that whatsoever. But you better put a little, if I was you, I'll put a little asterisk when we're doing those ballots. And then have additional player as a backup. So you're doing SEC, first team all defense preseason. Better have Ashlyn Watkins on that list to have an asterisk beside it, and then have another player, ready to sub in. The combination, if Watkins and Dada will again lead this team in block shots, lead the country and the SEC in block shots, and will be awesome down low. With Chloe Kitts improving her defense, though her defensive numbers going to increase, Sania Feagin with Watkins there will not have to play lights out defense. She can concentrate on playing really good defense and scoring the basketball. Now, if Ashlyn Watkins misses a substantial amount of time, us leading the country in defensive rating might not happen. It might not happen. I just have to say that. It might not happen. We have to recognize what we lost and what we have. There won't be a scenario, in my humble opinion, if Watkins is gone, that we will lead the country in block shots. I don't believe that's going to happen. Chloe doesn't block shots like that. Sania Feagin doesn't block shots like that. Dada does. I don't anticipate Joyce Edwards is turning into a block shot artist like that. Some folks gonna say, "What about Adele Tack?" I don't want Adele Tack playing a lot of minutes this year. I just don't. And y'all know I love me some Adele Tack. I was talking about Adele Tack before anybody was talking about Adele Tack. I don't want her playing a whole lot of minutes this season. She doesn't have to. And my fear is because Watkins, the uncertainty about Watkins, she might be pushed to play more minutes than I think she should. But I think her Adele Tack's potential for amazing is so high. So high. If this team could turn into a team that, you know, if Watkins doesn't come back, this team could turn into a more perimeter defensive team. And because Raven is special, Full Wiley is special, Tessa could be special, Powell, who I believe is going to be even more special this year on the defensive end. Y'all seen her. She looks like she's in the best shape of her life. Bree Hall needs to return to the Bree Hall who guarded hard if this team is to lead the team away from the post in terms of the best defenders. It's very possible. It's very possible. But it's going to be interesting to see. And we'll find out a little bit with Memphis. Memphis is a solid basketball team. They're not a pushover. They're not like ranked 250th. They're not a lower level type team. They are a solid basketball team, and they're playing at home. They want to beat the champions. They want to stay up with the champions. All those things. They want all those things. I'm not sure. I'm be watching that very closely on the defensive end, and I'm be watching the minutes distributed between on the defensive end of our post players. When we play Michigan, I think that's a higher level than Memphis, but not like because Michigan lost a lot. They got a very young team. We're going to find out a lot about our defensive squad when we play North Carolina State. We bullied North Carolina State. We took their lunch. We ate it in front of them. So they got something to prove. And we probably saw, Sania Rivers saying what she said, regards to this game. And it's all good. It's all good. This is going to be an interesting season. And if Watkins is not there, we're still going to be a top 3 defense. I mean, come on. But we've been a top number 1 defense by a large margin for multiple years. Being a top 3 defense, being a top 5 defense at South Carolina, with losing potentially the number 1 and the number 2 or 3 ranked defenders in last year in NCAA, and replacing those players, because we hear folks say like, "Yo, Cap, Kamilla Cardoso is gone. What y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do?" And holistically, as a win loss type scenario, we ain't gonna lose nothing. We ain't gonna lose nothing with Kamilla Cardoso as far as the team concept is. There's always the next woman up. So we ain't gonna lose nothing on that end. We'll find a way to win. We will win. We can score a lot of points. If we want to run, we can do that. That's the cool thing about South Carolina. If we want to run a fast pace, we can outrun you and shoot better than you. We have more depth. If we want to slow it down the old school way, we can do that too. But you might see South Carolina score a whole bunch of points this year because our defense ain't as good this year. If you're into stats in that regard, offensive stats, Carolina can light it up. We played at a faster pace. Last season, we played the fastest pace under the Don Staley era. There is high probability that this team will score at a higher pace than the previous season. When we play Memphis, we're going to score 100+ points. I'm saying it right now. We're going to light it up. We're going to light it up. And I'm going to start discussing Memphis tomorrow because it's time to start talking about Memphis. It's about that time. But we're going to light it up a lot. But in terms of defense, without Kamilla Cardoso, potentially without Watkins, we won't be as good. But as a team, this is the best team. Even with Watkins possibly not there, this is the best team that South Carolina has ever had. If Watkins is there and in shape, there are a problem for all 360 basketball teams that want to get that title away from South Carolina. It's basketball time, y'all. It's basketball time. This concludes another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. I'm your man, Captain Will. Make sure you like, make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe to Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. This is the only flavor. This is all the flavor you're going to get this season. This is the flavor. It's none other than your man, Captain Will. You now rocking with the best. And since you're rocking with the best, gonna rock with your boy, Captain Will. Let's go.
Oh, J-Rock did this